After my run-in with the police, I wanted to get to the bottom of what the law really said. I had had 3 other sets of policemen after that incident, but when I challenged them on the legality of the law, they decided not to fine me. In fact, they simply shrugged their shoulders, smiled and walked off. Was it because I was a foreigner? Or did they, in fact, not have any confidence in the laws that they were being asked to enforce? I decided to go up to Gdyni to speak to a lawyer who has a number of these cases going through the courts.
For the first, let's say, 5 months, it was like this, that only the people who are ill or supposed to be ill were obliged to wear the mask. And after the 2nd of December, our parliament that has tried to fix it in the way that this obligation would be imposed on everybody. But still they did this in the way that we cannot say that it's correct, because such duty should be imposed on us on the level of act of law. But our parliament, what they did on this December 2020, they made the law like this, that they gave the authorization to the Prime Minister to impose on the people, on everybody, to wear the mask, but still on the level of ordinance, not on the level of act of law.
They'd made an Act of Parliament, but the Act of Parliament didn't say you have to wear a mask.
Exactly.
The Act of Parliament said the government has power to make ordinances or rules,
Yes.
that people will have to wear the mask.
Exactly.
Yeah?
And moreover, because we also have in our this ordinance, we have some let's say situation that we don't have to wear the mask.
You have an exception.
Yes,
or
we
an
have
exemption.
exception. Yeah, and this exception is also, very, I don't know how to,
Well, I think I can help you there. The English is woolly.
Woolly.
Woolly, vague and woolly.
Okay.
But I have this here, which Mają Gidian
Okay.
gave me a year ago, and I used this in the trains, to the police. I used it at the airport last week, and he said, "No, you can't come in." And I said, "Pieces of paper work very well in Poland. You just produce a picture." He read, "Oh, okay," and he let me in the airport. So I was probably one of the few people in the airport, completely empty airport. No, I'm sure there's no health risk. Without a mask, just producing this letter. Nobody seemed to be too bothered about it, frankly. But to come back to this is citing quite a long bit of legislation.
It is.
It took me most of the journey up here to translate it, which simply says I am an exception.
Yeah, it simply says that you have difficulties with covering your lips or nose, your mouth or nose.
Yeah.
It's just like this, and exactly it's the quote from our ordinance. Each person who has difficulties with covering the nose or mouth doesn't have to wear the mask. And the problem is that what does it mean to have difficulties with covering your face?
Do they not define difficulties?
Not at all.
Really?
They even don't define what does it mean, the mask. What is the mask, yeah? So that's why, it's... How do you know that the mask that, that... I don't know, that the girl has, on her face, is the mask?
Okay.
If there is no legal definition of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. So even if it is legal, which you say it's not, there are exceptions which are very wide, such that any normal Polish person could simply say to someone, like a policeman, "Sorry, I fall into an exception."
Yeah.
And actually, I think I fall into an exception. Number one, walking around, having a nice walk on a Sunday with a mask over my face because I'm unfit, causes me to lose my breath. And I'm also paranoid because I feel like when I put my mask on and the police are walking around with masks, I'm in a police state. It puts me into a high state of nervous anxiety. Has anybody appeared in a Polish court with a mask for not wearing a mask in public, let's say?
From 2nd December, majority of the courts, they say it's the act of law, this act of law which were changed, act of parliament, was made properly, and then you are obliged to wear the mask. But in this situation, we don't know how many people were using this document, which confirms that you have those difficulties. So this is exactly the question.
No, I understand. Are there
Yes.
published cases?
Yes.
Okay, let's hear the stories.
So the story is now, we are now making the stories, and
You're at the front end of the storytelling.
Yeah, because we still don't get any, final judgments, which were, proceeding after those,
You haven't
appeal.
had a final appeal judgments.
Nothing like that.
But surely someone at least has appeared in a court in front of a judge in relation
sure.
to not wearing a mask.
For sure.
But do we know what happened?
Maybe they don't publish this. Maybe don't say about this. Yeah, it's not. But it's happening now. I mean, I think that in 1 month, 2 months, we will know more. Because, for example, me, I have about 5 or 6 cases now.
Like this.
So we are now on our way, to.
These are all
see.
mask cases.
Yeah.
I guess it's not that long since December, is it? So I guess it takes a long time for these things to come to an appeal
it's
judge.
about 3-4 months.
Okay.
And hold the proceedings, even because we can go to the court. I had the one case like this, but it was about quarantine actually. It was another things also, illegal quarantine. But the court got from me, legal analysis of this what parliament was made, and how the court should react. And after that, the court said, okay, after receiving this letter, I need to get more time to think over that, and let's meet another time at the court on June. Yeah.
Okay.
So we need to wait.
Court needs to.
Yeah.
Now, am I wrong? Because this is what I've been saying to the police officers, in saying to them, look, your parliament, your government, can't make laws that are in contradiction to your written constitution, which is, and the constitution is looked after by the constitutional tribunal. You can't remove someone's liberty, restrict someone's liberty, unless you declare a state of emergency, and no state of emergency is being declared. Therefore, these laws, these lockdown laws, are just not legal because they no state of emergency has been declared. Am I right or wrong in stating that as a defence? I'm not taking a fine. I want to speak to a judge. Have I been getting it wrong?
You're absolutely right. But the problem now is like this, that even the judges, they say, okay, it's against the constitution, but it's for our life, it's for our health, and we should protect ourselves. I had 2 weeks ago, I was in the court. I had a completely another case, and they didn't want me to come inside the court because I didn't have my mask. And I was sent to the director of the court.
Yeah.
So it means the director of the court is the person who is also a judge.
Okay.
Yeah, for a long time, and this is also a director. It means the person who knows everything about the organization of the court. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went there, and she asked me, why you don't care about the others. You are a lawyer. You should protect your life and the life of others. You should be example for those people, for the society. And she told me something like this: I don't care about the constitution. It's
Really?
Not, she told me like this, and it was in front of the people who were working there. It was at her office, at the room when there were another people who were working, and she said, "I don't care about this. It doesn't matter if it's written or not. You should wear the mask, because another way you are egoistic person, and and I will inform your registry of lawyers. I mean the official structures of our lawyers, that you behave like that." And also I showed her the document that you just showed to me, that I have difficulties with covering my face, and she told me that it's not true and I lie, so she will inform my organization of lawyers about that.
Okay.
That they should
Professional
do some
misconduct.
Yeah.
And what did they do?
Still, I don't know if they did something, because I'm not sure if she really did this, yes. But what I supposed to do, I think that I will send her the good book about masks, and especially the book which has a lot of information, that the most important are those scientific information based of randomized
Yes.
Randomized tests, exactly, and this is the most important, that don't have even the one randomized test that it's effective. There's even no one proof. And I told her when I was talking with her that by your behavior you are making those old people around you much more afraid of everything what's going on here.
Yes.
And so you are much dangerous for them than me without the mask.
Very
because
good
me,
point.
by my behavior, I'm showing them that there is nothing to afraid of, yes?
Yeah.
And you, by your behavior, you're all the time keeping them in the state of, being afraid
Wow.
of everything, yeah? And she told me, go out, and she shut the door, So I went out.
So, although for most of the pandemic no one has been obliged to wear a mask at all, from the 2nd of December the position changed, and the courts have, at least initially, approved of this act. But there is a big but, as the exceptions to wearing one are so wide as to virtually mean you don't have to wear one at all. We will simply have to wait for the judgments to come through. And there is also the overriding question to be decided, whether any lockdown measures are legal and constitutional without a state of emergency having first been declared. But what about other restrictions on businesses, schools and freedom of movement? In the second part of the interview, I was to hear that in these cases there have been judgments. I was also to learn about a certain policewoman who is now boldly defying the rules in her own police station and causing quite a stir.
First of all, I need to say that I'm very proud and I'm honored that I can represent this girl, because she's the one who is, really, who read the Constitution, who all the time reads the Act of Law, and who is actually fighting alone against the whole system.